Who do you turn to for advice? Is it your practice to turn to God, the mighty counselor? Or do you tend to turn to man? And if man, are they wise? What kind of counsel do they give you? That's one of the things we want to weigh in on today as we finish up Esther chapter 1. So find Esther in your Bibles and in the Gotcha Bible Guide, and just track with me as God Chats leads us through verses 13 through 22, giving us much to ponder and chew on. Now, we left with Queen Vashti disobeying her husband, the king, leaving him humiliated and angry. And we will see today in verse 13 that this king, he doesn't turn to God, the mighty counselor. No, he turns to so-called wise men for advice. Well, I just want you to catch the scene, because Queen Vashti disobeying her husband, the king of the greatest empire there was, this caused a huge, horrible scandal within the empire. Because you see, if the queen could disobey her husband, then all the women throughout the empire would think they could disobey their husbands. And the men, they're in a panic. So you'll see in verse 19 that these so-called wise men come up with a wonderful solution. Write a law that every man will be master of his home. Really? We think a law is going to bring these husbands respect? Can I just stop and say, I have no trouble honoring and respecting my dear husband. And that's because he's a man of integrity and he's honorable and respectable. So men, if you want to receive honor and respect from your wives, be honorable and respectable. It's that simple. Well, as we end this chapter today, we will see this queen who didn't want to see her husband, the king, will never be seeing him again, and that her royal position will be given to another. Well, do you remember that this book was written to show us the providential hand of God, and we need to be on the lookout? Well, this sets the stage for Esther to come on the scene. You see, the queen's banishment is the door that opens for Esther. Now, even though we don't see God mentioned, God is working. And as God, the true king, is working behind the scenes in Esther's life, he's also working behind the scenes in your life and my life. And it's glorious. Join me today. Find your quiet spot and let's let Jesus, who is the King of every king, lead us into all truth by the power of his Spirit.